Chapter 18 Fire. Within seconds, the corn was alight and spreading like measles, and in 1 minute, an ugly black cloud has discolored the icy blue sky like a blob of paint rudely applied. Look at that, said Charlie, as the culprit sprinted off unseen and left a disjointed path through the corn, spoiling its beauty forever. We need to get out of here before the whole field goes up in flames. It's like a tinderbox, he said, as he scrambled to his feet. Charlie had no idea what a tinderbox was, but he knew it wasn't a good thing. The blue of the sky was rapidly being eaten up by the thick black smoke, and the fire was spreading through the cornfield and leaving Charlie and Tinker with few options but to run away quickly. Charlie could hear the snap of the corn and the searing heat at his back, and he forgot his tiredness and he kept on running. Tinker was scared, but there was no way that he was going to admit it. Charlie looked back at the burning corn, and he hoped all of the mice had managed to run away, as he hated to see any animals suffering. He then imagined what Spider-Man would do, and he knew that it wouldn't take his webs long to smother the flames. If only he was, turning the page, wearing his favorite Spider-Man socks, he thought. Then he wouldn't be half as scared. They rested at a safe distance, and luckily they hadn't breathed in any of the acrid smoke, but they were still shocked and so out of breath that it took them a few minutes to be able to speak up. Wow, that was a close call, said Tinker, as he brushed the straw from his trousers, and he stood up to see the fires raging, just like an inferno. Then they heard the sound of fire engines in the distance. We will have to go, said Tinker, who was taking charge as usual. We don't want to be blamed for this, he added seriously. I don't think our parents would be pleased, he added accurately. They walked home in silence, and both of them lost in their own thoughts. They were both exhausted, and it had been an exciting but frightening first day of their new school holidays. That night, Tinker climbed onto his bed, and he had no time to read or to watch TV. All he wanted was to fall asleep. Hello, viewers. Hello, Packrish, blah, blah, blah. Charlie sat in his favourite comfy green armchair and he thumbed through his comics. Bath UK, please sub me if you like my story. His mum Jane had a pile of heavy-looking books by her side, and a lot of the names looked foreign to Charlie and were hard to read. The one that his mum had been burying her nose in, the most like a hungry horse in a nose bag, was called Gobbling Market. Hello, viewers. That sounds interesting to Charlie, as he knew about goblins, and they sounded like funny, interesting creatures. Hello, India. Are you still reading those Spider-Man comics? His mum asked. Charlie didn't know why she was asking, because that was all that he ever read. He had tried other comics, but he didn't enjoy them as much, and he was always hoping that Spider-Man would appear to liven things up, but that was unlikely, he thought. God bless. He sank back into his story, and it revealed that Spider-Man was observing two nervous, out-of-shape-looking crooks who were struggling to open the door of a small car. They were so useless and inept that Spidey just sat watching them with his hand on his chin. Please sub me, viewers. They were not professionals, he thought accurately. Charlie took in every detail of the colours, and it was as if he was truly there, and the so-called real world around him had disappeared. As far as Charlie was concerned, he was Spider-Man. He was fearless, brave, exciting, a hero, all of the things he wanted to be in real life. Now the crooks had opened the car door and they were looking inside. For what, Charlie couldn't tell. But as he turned the page, the answer became clear. There was a pink handbag on the back seat. It was probably full of some poor old lady's checkbook or jewellery, he thought. But where was Spider-Man to help? Charlie had nothing to fear, as at that moment Spider-Man was flying over the heads of the commuters and the lazy cat sleeping in the alleyway. Charlie turned the page quickly, only to see Spider-Man swoop down and zap the hapless thieves with his iron-like web. They were going nowhere, only to prison, thought Charlie, who was now wide awake and grinning. What next for Spider-Man, he thought. And then the spell was broken like a window being shattered. Would you like a cuppa, Charlie? I'm parched, his mum said, and she put her heavy book down with a thud. I'd love one, Mum, said Charlie, even though he wasn't thirsty at all. Nice. I'd love one, Mum. He'd do anything to please his mum. After all she'd been through enough, he thought. The last thing that he wanted to do was to bring stress or friction into her life. And then a flood of bad memories came back into his mind like a dark cloud that he thought had vanished forever. Funny, JSB, please sub me. Hi, people. I am kind. Hello, Aubrey Parks. Every night was the same, the banging of the door, the swearing, and the sounds of breaking glass, as his so-called dad staggered in from another full day at the pub. Thank you. He never hit Charlie, but he always hit his mum. Please sub me. Jane. But Charlie felt every blow, and he put his arms around his crumpled brown teddy bear and closed his tearful eyes, and he wished that all of the bad things would go away. But for a long, long time they didn't. One rainy, dull day, something happened which changed everything. Charlie's dad was walking to the betting shop with his pockets full of cigarettes and loose change and his head full of numbers and the names of every horse running in the National. For once he was smiling and he knew that he was on to a winner, a dead cert. He was looking forward to spending his guaranteed earnings on something meaningful. Beer. Thank you, Aubrey. Unfortunately, he stepped into the road without a sideways glance. There was no way the car could stop in time. Hope you can hear me, viewers. Oh my God, where am I? 28, 29. Charlie opened his threadbare curtains and he saw the blue of a flashing light and the figure of an unfamiliar man standing at the door. His mum, Jane, brought Charlie the awful news. His dad was dead. Now it was just the two of them. Charlie was sad, but he didn't cry. At the funeral, the place was packed with all of his dad's friends and all of his work colleagues. They didn't really know him, thought Charlie bitterly. They only saw his good side. Charlie watched all of his dad's fair-weather friends nibbling at sandwiches and drinking coffee. The place was so noisy like a hen house. So Charlie locked himself in the toilet. It was the only place where he could find any peace and gather his thoughts together as they unraveled like wool. Then he looked down and he saw a colourful-looking newspaper. Charlie was intrigued and he bent down to investigate. But it wasn't a newspaper, it was a comic. Spider-Man, it said, and Charlie marvelled at the cool photos, and as he read, the depressing world around him disappeared, and he melted like margarine into the yellowing pages of the comic. From that moment on, as far as he was concerned, he was Spider-Man. Thank you, viewers. God bless. Please sub me. Nighty night.